Can we rely on solar and wind? To understand better, we need to know what makes energy cheap, but also a lot. Every process that goes into making and materials used must also be inexpensive in order for it to be produced on a large scale. While we know the sun and wind are always there, they are free, clean, and produce no CO2 emissions. But is it reliable enough? And is it the answer to our problem that we still have today? Yes, renewables are beneficial to the earth, but how come solar and wind only supply our world only less than 10%? The process of turning solar and wind energy into electricity on a large scale is not cheap. In fact, solar and wind compared to fossil fuels, nuclear power, and hydroelectricity are very expensive. The diluteness problem is one of the drawbacks, because wind and solar are both weak and not available all the time. This means that solar and wind cannot produce concentrated energy, meaning a large scale of solar panels and wind turbines is needed to produce electricity. This means more material is needed to produce a unit of energy. Solar panels use components like highly purified silicon, phosphorus, boron, and titanium dioxide. And for wind turbines, materials needed are high-performance compounds, metal neodymium, and as well as steel and concrete to build the structure. Because solar and wind are intermittent, the only way they are useful is if the energy can be stored in batteries for whenever we need them. This is why solar and wind cannot work on their own independently yet, because they still need a backup, and that backup still leads to fossil fuels. Canada, for example, is one of the world leaders in renewable energy. The blow of wind can be erratic, and solar power generation is significantly less during the winter when Canada most needs electricity. As a result, reliable sources of energy, in particular fossil fuels such as coal, will need to be the backup. With Canada's rich land, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Nova Scotia, and Nunavut generate the majority of their electricity from fossil fuels such as coal, natural gas, or petroleum. Canada has already spent billions of dollars on renewable energies, and the use of fossil fuels is still increasing. And lastly, switching up between the use of solar, wind, and fossil fuels to keep a sustainable energy in the country is costly.